Behind Dutch headlines, the who, why, and how of politics and media in the lowlands.
Hi, it's me, Greg Shapiro, the American Netherlander. Here's what you need to know to join the Dutch conversation. This week, Dutch Prime Minister Mark Rutte continues his pledge saying, read my lips, no 4.3 billion euros in spending cuts. Instead, he's going for 6 billion. And this week on The Choice of Holland, Groningen versus Drenthe. Our first headline, the Dutch Central Planning Bureau, says that the Dutch budget must be cut by another 6 billion euros in 2014. What's behind the headline? Well, basically the 3% rule. Uli Rehn of the European Commission says that we really should cut 6 billion euros. The Dutch said, no, we couldn't possibly cut another 6 billion, but now we're cutting another 6 billion. Is there any good news here? Yes. But you have to dig pretty deep. Is the coalition in trouble? Mark Rutte of the right-leaning VVD has already pushed for 2 big rounds of spending cuts already. On the other side, you've got Labour PvdA, led by Diederik Samsom. They said, 2 rounds of spending cuts? That's enough. We do not want any more spending cuts. And they even got Mark Rutte to agree. But it turns out, well, the numbers are worse than anybody expected. And here's the good news. Now, even the Labour Party agrees we need more spending cuts. With the new ideas for painful budget cuts due in August, you would think that everyone in Den Haag would spend all of their time and energy focusing on how to get out of this jam. That's a joke. No, instead, they spent the whole week worrying about this. Our next headline, Dutch Senate leader resigns after offending Geert Wilders. What's behind the headline? Well, the master of ceremonies for the king's investiture last April was Fred de Graaf, the head of the Dutch Senate, or Eerste Kamer. And didn't he do a good job in celebrating the Dutch monarchy and the spirit of immigration with our Argentinian Queen Maxima? But maybe he gloated a bit too much. In an interview last week, Fred de Graaf described how he did his job as the head master of ceremonies of the investiture. Since the investiture was actually a meeting of the joint houses of parliament, it was up to the leader of the Senate, Eerste Kamer, to plan the royal escort, which senior politicians would get to walk with the new king and queen. Now, it seems that Fred de Graaf didn't just accidentally put Geert Wilders on the sidelines, he did it deliberately. Why would Fred de Graaf do such a thing? Well, as he explained, he thought that maybe it would not be such a good idea to have an anti-immigrant, anti-monarchist politician in the same shot as the new king and queen. Because Geert Wilders is an anti-immigrant, anti-monarchist politician. And while Geert Wilders was howling and crying and making himself the victim, it was at least Fred de Graaf who had the good taste to put an end to this news cycle and step down. And this week on The Choice of Holland, we've been reducing the number of Dutch provinces at the behest of the Dutch government from 12 down to just 5. Previously on The Choice of Holland, you can check out previous episodes to see how we ended up at Carnaval Land, JZ Land, Friesland stays Friesland, and Overijssel and Gelderland will be sold off to the highest bidder. This week, Groningen versus Drenthe. On our way to Groningen, let's stop at Drenthe, the least populous of the Dutch provinces, and the key to Drenthe would be the 3 B's. First of all, Bartje, the famous Dutch little boy who wouldn't eat his beans. If you want more on this educational cultural tale, check out our Facebook page for the link. Second, biking. Drenthe markets itself as the best province for biking in the Netherlands. And third, the Hunebedden. The Hunebedden are basically the Netherlands' answer to the stones of Stonehenge. And Groningen, featuring the capital Groningen, which is known as Student City. There are a lot of universities in the Netherlands, but there's only one place that has the street cred. Why? Because it's as far as possible from where your Dutch parents probably live. What happens in Groningen stays in Groningen. For the rest of Groningen, the only thing you get is gas. not the gas from Chile, but the gas from natural gas. It paid for the Delta works. It paid for a lot of the Dutch budget in the 80s and 90s. Nowadays, they're digging so deep that they're kind of getting some earthquakes. And when the gas is gone, the only thing left to do is party, like they did last year in Haren for Project X. Let's go to the jury. First up is Minister Plasterk, who says, I used to be Minister of Education, and, Groningen is student city, but I do like biking as well, so Drenthe is nice, whatever you want to do. Next up, Donald Trump, who says, Groningen, you had all that money from the gas, you didn't even keep any for yourselves, you didn't build any floating casinos or super high-rises, you're fired! And finally on the jury, me. Groningen and Drenthe, well, you guys are in trouble. To be honest, Groningen, what do you got? Gas? After that's gone, I don't know what's left. To be honest, we were thinking of merging you with Friesland. But after that Project X party in Haren, it's obvious Groningen knows how to study and how to party. We need a place in the Netherlands where we can send the best and brightest to blow off steam. So, if we can celebrate the best, it's like a big student fraternity party up in Groningen. And Drenthe can be like the younger brother that gets to go along. So Drenthe, Groningen, congratulations. You guys are now Fratland. Yoo-hoo! That's all the time we have for this week. Hey, I'm off to Fratland. I'm the Geert Shapiro, the American Netherlander, saying we'll have one more episode and then we're taking a summer stop. I'll probably be partying up in Groningen. But do tune in next week because it'll be an extra long episode. Till then, I'm Geert Shapiro. Thank you very much.
Behind Dutch Headlines.